Welcome back to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, into the LPL Summer for day number 1. A crispy game to start off the LPL Summer. Those are the words I had in my head. I'm not sure if you can do any better, but after that first game of EDG and DMO, I got a good idea of what this split is going to be like. I said explosive, and I think I'm on the right track.
Yeah, I think Dominus came into this one with the exact same formula that they had last split, but for EDG, they came in completely different. Now, they may still have the same style. I think, once again, Jinoo and Ray completely similar in champion pools, it feels. Both of them are also Riven players, which is fun. But this one, it came in like where Jinoo is just super explosive. Yeah. That's something that we need to see, and he came in consistently finding flanks. And in times in which EDG weren't ready for it, when they were moving towards Baron but didn't want to make the move first to get the auto attack off, he stayed in his place. He was calm and collected. That's what we need to see out of him.
That's what you expect out of an experienced player like Jinoo, but we're tossing between MVP. In the end, it goes to Scout, who just had an amazing performance on the Cork. He hit 3 items and a silent killer in the fight since he did 27% of the team's damage.
So it's funny because coming into this one, we said essentially every member except for Scout.
Yeah. That
he was getting pushed in early. He was not having a good time in that one. His team fights was nice. But if we're just talking about who won those team fights for them, I would say it was Jinoo. I would say it was Meiko. So I think at the end of the day, EDG comes in. They're a strong team.
Yeah.
Team-playing team. All of them put in their part. Scout certainly did as well. There were a lot of fights, actually, where he was able to get a sneaky point. If you ever go back, you're on YouTube or anything, VOD reviewing, a lot of the plays he was able to make off the court, he able to find like a really rogue, like big ultimate on towards an AD carry, getting the kill. Like, that was specifically in the early bottom lane fight. Like, those kind of situations, that's what Scout's there for. Mechanical outplays, being able to have that kind of necessary vision to get yourself a lead. But once again, I got to give Jinoo some love.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to give Jiejie some love, though, because I think the jungle of EDG for the first game coming up from the LDL.
That's true. Very
good start, and some of the earlier skirmishes around the river of both mid lane, both rivers around the side of mid lane, close enough.
There we go.
Was set up by Jiejie's Olaf.
Yeah, I think that he was calm in a lot of circumstances. So a lot of the times when nerves are coming into play, you're in your debut game. We actually saw that off of Meteor. I think Meteor, when he came in for BLG off his first game, he played in strong, I think. But there were certainly the games completely after that one where he was actually the sole bridge in the early game where he fell flat. I was expecting somewhat the same there for Jiejie, but he came in strong, and a lot of the times he had the necessary help from Meiko to be able to get Scuttle Crab constantly and have mid lane pressure.
Because earlier in the game, we saw the scuffle down on the bottom side, I think 2-3 minutes in. A very explosive small fight. But Jiejie, was he there? He was not there. He was just farming in the top side.
So this one was interesting because if you're coming in from EDG at this standpoint, they start this one out fairly weak, right? Why are you teleporting in towards this play? Now, you can't cancel it. At this point, you're essentially doubling down on what is already feels like a lost play. So this was disastrous for EDG. The fact that they came back into the game, came back strong, was something that I loved.
Music was just perfect there, by the way. Music was so well done.
Tearing them to shreds.
Yeah.
But for me, of course, like the standout performance is past that point, because if you're a DMO, you have to be able to finish up that game, especially with a level 1 like that. You need to be able to specifically play through Xiaopeng, who now has a strong enough lead, and now can play through Cassiopeia to be able to now look for a deeper invade, maybe on red side. If you see the Olaf, then you're fine. Chill out, play back, and you can call for your lanes in the bottom side of the map adjacent to that, or at least the farthest away from that, to play a little bit more aggressively. But what we saw there was EDG trading sides, getting another team fight actually first that was able to get them a lead in the bottom side of the map. When DMO trade sides got Rift Herald, I thought we were good.
Good trade.
Better trade, 100%. The best trade deal you can get. And then you knew that Dominus were going to go towards the top side of the map and going to be placing down that Rift Herald. They did not expect Renekton to be lying in wait. So patient, by the way. Look at your clock. Look at your watch. I thought at any point, just get in there.
Where's Jinoo?
Where's you going to just flash on somebody? No, he waits for the perfect time, especially for Scout to come in. Once Scout comes in range, Miasma is gone. He gets the early pick, and it just throws the entire advantage Dominus had with the Rift Herald pickup. So Dominus's major weakness in this game was sieging. That was their one attempt at siege with Rift Herald, didn't work out. They made 2 attempts at sieging through mid lane, and EDG were always in position to bat them away. And worst case scenario, Renekton was already in a flank area. So Renekton would have been able to find a good fight much like that one. So Now Dominus certainly are going to find an easier way to flank because, like, they need some help in composition.
Okay.
They need something within the composition to be able to give them the range for mid lane.
So are you suggesting a change in you know, top lane pick there for Changhong? Someone who picks Xayah and pretty much only Xayah?
So two things. One thing what you can do is actually change mid lane pick towards like a Corki, which makes it easier to actually go into a 1-3-1, which is always something that they end up looking to do in the early on in the spring split.
Yeah.
They find themselves with a great 1-4, 1-3-1 option, so they can push a side lane and then join for mid. To then have, like, you know, if you try and pull EDG apart. This one that was pure mid-range team fight. If you want to pick up the fight, or at least the tower objective on mid lane, then you need to work for it. If I look at this comp and say Invictus Gaming, what would you do with that one? If they would look for a flank around, it would be, and this is going to be fun, it would be Ning going to cut through either red side or blue side jungle and looking for a deep dive, having faith that the Shy or Rookie are going to join up on him, while you know for certain that your AD carry is going to be chipping at the tower and you should be able to get the tower to a great degree and then join up, right? They will have a far more aggressive take on it. While BLG, like all these other teams that are actually very strong at their specific style, would slow play. They would have a much longer game. They would be far more confident in their team fight composition. So like, we don't need to take the turret right now. We can hold it for as long as possible. We're in a great position to be able to, like, Kuro, Jinja, all these players that you know are going to be successful when you get to these larger Baron buff fights. So it seemed like they were trying to speed the pace of the game without the tools of doing so, and without a concrete strategy of being able to nail it
I
down.
guess if you compared it to a team like IG or BLG, you would say that there wasn't the full commitment of the team. One person flashes over. If you're looking at IG, everyone flashes over. Or if they're going to make that commitment, they make it till they die. I
mean, commitment is the next strategy. I just said that they need to do the one, the step before that is having an idea of what you're trying to do. There's having an idea, all 5 members, and what you should be able to, where you should be, and then doing it. So that's unfortunate. I think they've showed to me during the spring split that they can nail all that down. It's more so just coming back into the things, right? You're coming back into the split. Obviously, there's some rust around you.
A little bit.
You have to be able to make the right plays. I know for certain one person is angry. It's Coach Bai.
Yeah, as you would be.
He's pissed off. We learned these lessons at the beginning of the split.
Because, man, that was, to be fair, though, for DMO, that was not the team we saw in spring. That was nothing like the performance that they showcased towards the later half of spring split and towards playoffs against EDG.
Yeah, so when I make any criticisms towards the draft, I think that draft is fine. It's more so we need a band-aid to what we've already seen to be a problem. They can double down. They can say, we'll take the same draft. We're confident that we can make the right decisions with what we've had. So they can do that, or they can just make it easier for them. I'm a big fan of the nuclear option. Change everything.
Yep. Throw it out the window.
Everything must go.
New split, new me. It's
Is this how he wants his hairdo to be done? He's just decided to flick his hair over the headphones.
Won't they just give it big imprint? You just have big fluffy hair when you take it on?
I'm just not a fan of that. What is going on with that, man?
Oh, well, running into game 2. Look, I'm excited to see a change up in composition, as you mentioned there, in Dominus. If you do just flip the switch and go ball to the wall. But for me, I always liked Dominus because it was just good old-fashioned, let's team fight. That's what I saw out of the end of spring.
Yep.
Let's just go for it and find these big explosive fights.
Well, that's what they did last game. They just didn't have a strategy of how to get there.
I wouldn't call that big explosive. I'd call that small explosive fights.
Because EDG just kept cutting them up in transition.
Yeah, okay.
So, look, I think what EDG has done in Game 1 is easy to replicate in Game 2.
Yep.
That if we're going to be seeing Dominus continue to throw a lot of haymakers that are just not good, not thought through, then EDG just have to play it calm. In fact, the major criticism that I made to EDG was when they had Baron buff, went towards bottom side of the map, had to wait one more wave.
And they did not.
But they did not. They were like, we don't need to wait an extra wave. We can do this without our AD carry. So as long as EDG cleans that up, I know they heard a lot from Coach Hart, then certainly they come into this one stronger. So we'll have to see.
The bonus to having a fresh young mind, someone like Jiejie, who on your screen you can see the adaptation that we got from Jiejie in the first game towards the side of EDG. There was a lot of focusing around Scout, not necessarily in lane looking for the gank, but looking through the river, and a lot of scuttle crab control from the new jungler of EDG. I don't think Xiaopeng got a scuttle crab that game, if only 1 or 2.
Yeah, I kind of expected that when it came down to the draft. Perhaps past that point when there was an early lead from Dominus, things could change through 2v2 mid. So I was like, okay, I'm open-minded. Okay. But that ended quick. So, yeah, I want to see what the draft here actually entails for Dominus, because during the best of 5 in playoffs, they actually drafted and catered towards their jungle.
Yeah.
They said, okay, if we want to get Xiaopeng ahead, as their coach is just yelling at Changhong, have pushing lanes in your solo lanes, and then have a relentless look towards red buff and Raptor camp.
Yep.
And that was a successful strategy. Now, it is very linear and something you can move around. You're never going to have a situation where you're like, we have 2 winning lanes at all time. That actually, it's a do-si-do. You have to have both EDG wanting to draft in that way, and then Dominus taking advantage of that. Now, I still think that regardless, play through what I want to see is play through mid lane. I want to be able to see past the Cassiopeia, that they can play something like a Syndra. Let's see if the Silas is available as we get into pick and ban.
See if Twila does his Corki again, because that was a pick that we saw over in spring as we jump into game 2 pick and ban, and Silas will be one of the first taken off the board, and Xiaopeng's Nidalee.
The oddities of the last game was the fact that Ryze was available after the first round.
Made it so far through.
Exactly. Now, Dominus still ended up banning it in the second phase. But I was surprised that EDG just didn't want to pick it up on their side. Of course, they were still successful after that point. So there's no reason for them to change.
Looks like there's going to be no change from DMO as well. First pick locked in again, the Rek'Sai priority, and EDG, they can rinse and repeat. Meiko had a great game 1 on this Nautilus, so why should he change?
Yeah, Nautilus and Olaf. Literally no reason to change here, especially if you know that you were as happy as you were last game in the jungle matchup. Had a 2-level lead for a majority of it. No reason to change.
That's right. So 15 seconds just to see that rinse and repeat. But can start theory crafting what Dominus Esports might change here in this game number 2. A response to the Olaf. You've got a lot of junglers taken off the board, so you've already got the Rek'Sai. What will accompany good with it? I
mean, look, it's going to be the same thing. I think Xayah and Rakan were just as strong last time around. Perhaps, if they're going to change anything up, perhaps the Rakan, because they couldn't actually get as strong of an engage as they would have hoped.
Yep.
He even sat in Fog of War for a long time, started up his ultimate so it wouldn't be a concern, and even then, like, it was still a long journey to get the instant CC on Meiko and iBoy. He's still going to try for it, picking up the Rakan back again, but it's tough for a Rakan in this world.
Does make a lot of sense to Mark. Of course, Rakan getting buffed, but we noticed the change that's come through. You can't flash with the quickness anymore in that 0.5 second window.
Now, here's where the changes should happen, unless if we start tricking VOD viewers that we're watching the exact same game and pick and ban and everything.
Yeah.
We're probably going to see, once again, the Syndra and Ryze as banned. No, actually, they got the LeBlanc ban.
They got the LeBlanc last time, that's right.
That's true. Last time, they were much more happier facing the Syndra than they were the LeBlanc. I want to see if that remains the same. So it goes back to our earlier discussion. It just seems like Dominus are saying it's not the composition, which I agree with. It's more so we made the poor decisions. It's a little bit ballsier. It's them having faith in and who they are as a team, that they can make the better decision. Let's see if they go back to the Cassiopeia and Scion.
At the very least, you're not going to be taking away something like the Corki, which has been banned, but the LeBlanc, once again, is it going to be a rinse and repeat? Well, at the very least, Scout will not have the Corki, so it'll be a change instead. Priority towards the Cassiopeia, maybe. That fooled us for a second, but it is going to be the Cassiopeia for Scout.
There's a few picks that Twila is happy to go into that one with now. One is going to be, not the Corki, I'm trying to think. Not the Syndra either, the Jace. He's gone Jace to that one in the past.
Well, Jace has been banned away, so he's already slimmed out the opportunity.
Aurelion Sol has been an option for him in the past, but looking to hover over the Kassadin. They don't have to pick it immediately, but they have about 20 more seconds if they were to lock this in. 30 seconds, actually.
Kennen for now, though, so change in Changhong. It's not going to be the Scion. Dominus Esports, an entrance into Game 2. This would be... But what do you do?
They're thinking this one through because currently with the Kennen that we have available, that gives them strong team fighting and then strong side lane push if it's going to be the Gunblade Kennen that we've seen at MSI. So they can go for side lane split push. They can either find a good side laner
or you can do this.
Boom, got that team fighter range ahead. The range advantage over the Cassiopeia makes this one a strong pick.
Sauron enters Summoner's Rift in game number 2. What do you match in that top lane? No, that's the final question to add for EDG, because when you have something like the Kennen, get into the skill matchup, give something good to Jinoo, and the Akali has made it all the way through once again, but this time we'll be locked on it.
All right. So here's my concern. I'm going to immediately talk about the negatives. of the, I mean, everybody wants to be like hyping up the Vel'Koz, but it's a Vel'Koz with a significantly weaker jungler in comparison to what Jiejie has to offer. So a Vel'Koz that doesn't necessarily have the mobility, so it's nice that he's right now on heal and flash. You going to be saying something?
I was going to ask you, do you think this is going to be a glacial augment Vel'Koz?
Yes, I think so. 100%. It makes their team fighting a lot stronger, can be able to nail down some of the members. Oh, is that going to be a Cassiopeia top?
Changhong did it.
Yeah,
so
5 seconds.
This is just going to be ironic. No, okay.
All right. We cool.
All right, sorry, I'll bring you back, Raz. Tell me more about Vel'Koz.
I was interested too. Okay. I was real interested in that one. But yeah, ultimately my biggest concern is if you don't have the Vel'Koz able to consistently shove out, bully the lane, because you know that Rek'Sai is going to have a problem in the specific jungle matchup, then seems like he's going to be playing underneath his tower, at least should, after the first 4 levels is my thing. Yep. So we're just going to have to see how the jungle matchup ends up panning out. Last game, it was Rek'Sai having a lead, and then the other team fight that ended up getting 2 kills there for Olaf. So Jiejie was able to just absolutely ball out in the matchup, and it made it difficult for Dominus to really do much there.
It was first game returning back at the split. Some part of me thinks that this will be a little bit more calm coming into game number 2. Whether that raises eyebrows or not, depending on the Vel'Koz and how this goes in the first portion of the game.
Depends on how they play with the Vel'Koz, to your point, because the trick with Vel'Koz, sure, you can play it as a pick champion where you have, your ghosties, the glacial augment, essentially try and chase people down. But the best way to play a Vel'Koz is to be in position for a lot of these neutral objectives. I'm talking about Baron, Dragons, all of that. So when they come into you, that when EDG is looking to respond, that you can get your full ultimate off on a lot of these carries. And so I want to see Dominus play this one out correctly rather than trying to chase members down, because then that's not how you play with the Vel'Koz. He's going to be weak in being able to do that, especially with the flank pressure that Akali has to offer.
There's another part of that as well that we'll go into as we jump into game number 2. I love the new intro into Summoner's Rift here for Summer. It's already been exciting to start off game 1, but going into number 2, EDG versus Dominus. With their new look comes new responsibilities heading towards Worlds. This is the start of the journey against EDG. Now they need to bring it to game number 3. When you're a historic organization like EDG, of course you have the crowd support coming into summer. And I was going to say, for Dominus, small moral support there. I saw what looks like a daughter in the crowd. Now, I'm not sure if anyone's a father in the team, but it's exciting to see the fans still coming out for Dominus.
I think the majority of those fans coming in for EDG there too. So EDG, no matter what venue they come into, can always sell out a stadium. Yeah, it's always fun to see. But you're right to the point about Dominus always finding their fan base, but this is tough.
Look, I mean, they're going to lose it in an instant. Flash over! No, undertow. It's going to be Jinoo who follows through. He's whirling around. The heel's up. Jiejie's going to get an undertow, but who's he going to get the kill to? Thank you, Olaf, and thank you for first blood.
An assist goal going over the solo laners too, so tough start there. Didn't expect them to be coming in for a top lane challenge.
Oh, iBoy used the summoner under 2 minutes once again. The Ignite gets dropped on down, and Raz, I'm sorry I said it was going to be slow this time around because we're already speeding up.
Yeah, this is rough. Just taking a look at the keystones here before we just talk about what nonsense we had to witness.
No glacial augment.
Yeah, Comet here, so he's going for the full DPS. Interesting.
Yeah.
Not really a fan of it, but ultimately, at the end of the day, he has lane strength there. Maybe he can challenge in the 2v2.
Oh, no,
Good God, please help me.
Jinoo does that flash. That's the only reason Changhong is alive.
Help.
This is a good start for EDG, and that is saying something because... oh, yes!
No way! What the hell?
That is the jungler of EDG, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 2019. Welcome to Summer, and welcome to Xiaopeng as he dies on in. Flashed on down, give Jiejie another kill on the Olaf, and just send Xiaopeng to the death.
Let no one tell you that you have zero confidence, my friend. That right there, shooting for the skies.
Would Clearlove do that? Well, actually, maybe he would.
Amalex G would do that.
Yes, he would.
I love the LPL, man.
And I'm starting to love Jiejie because that's a really good start, a really good look.
This is what we need. Clearlove wouldn't do that.
That's perfect. Well, for EDG, that's already a 1,000 gold lead. And you can see why when the Olaf comes on in, now takes away your red buff and technically has 3 buffs. So actually, he hasn't taken his red just yet.
So just remember, everyone out there, the early trinket was placed on the red, so they had a great idea that Xiaopeng was going to it right then and there. Yeah. They had the timing and everything, so it made a lot of sense that Jiejie would flash for it, like 100%. Like, Rek'Sai needed to be on that side of the map They definitely misread where he was going to be throwing the red buff. Thought it was going to be on the right side of the pit rather than the left, but they just ended up concluding their investigation on the Raptor camp.
It's a really good transition because now remember that Scuttlecrab spawns at 315, so naturally after going towards the red side, back towards the blue, the Scuttlecrab is there for Jiejie to pick up. Level 3 has an advantage and just walks through mid, going to help get the shove out of Twila.
So this is the sad part for the Vel'Koz pick, right? I mean, we were talking about and saying that for it to succeed, it needed to have at least like Xiaopeng not fall in the jungle matchup.
Yep.
That has only been the worst situation for Xiaopeng.
It's true.
Last game, he was 2 levels behind because of an earlier skirmish. Now he's just completely out of the game. So good luck, Vel'Koz.
Twila left alone in the mid lane. At least Scout's not there to push him out. And I was, before the Chaos started, going to talk about this matchup a little bit more because Scout in a position to push Twila out.
That was smart here, just talking about how the wave was being managed. Because Twila was making the assumption that Scout was going back to base. So he was like, I don't want to hold the wave here and commit myself to be in the lane. He's just going to end up having a hard shove there.
Yep.
Scout stays, picks up the entire wave, and they're both going to back. So this actually works out well for Scout. For Twila, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, he made the worst decision, but he couldn't really do much about it because he didn't have vision on the Cassiopeia.
Yep. In the lane where Twila still has a bit of a CS advantage to start the game off, has gone back and kind of optimized into many different things. Fairy Charm, Dark Seal, Amplifying Totem there as well. And Xiaopeng trying to get himself back into the game. You mentioned before he was out of it for now. Well, 5 minutes in, towards the top side, trying to find a window into Jinoo, who still doesn't have his flash available. Yeah,
trying to get any point of bully here on the top side of the map. Now, one thing that's changed for the Kennen, oh, we're going to have to see what he can get down here. Oh, my God, Jinoo is playing it too safe.
Yeah, no energy there.
But the Kennen did receive a change in his overall kit. I would say overall it was a nerf. Is the fact that he was able to get... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, the change ultimately was the fact that Kennen's bonus flat magic and armor was taken out of his E and then moved to his ultimate.
Yep.
So, in the laning phase, that was fantastic to be able to have your E kind of just charge straight forward and skirmish against most champions. And then fantastic, right? Like, you win some of the skirmishes you have, especially with the range lead you have versus most matchups. Now it's in your ultimate, which is better in team fights, but like it's just more so on the windows that you had. You had such a large window. If we're just not talking about the ultimate, now he has to be smart with it.
Well, hang on, Rise. We've got a Petrifying Gaze in the mid lane. Hold that thought as Twila just walking away with his head held high. Now, here comes the Disintegration Ray onto Scout. The true damage is a lot to handle, and Scout will get the movement speed from the Noxious Blast to walk away. But getting closer here, and Twila actually forcing Scout out.
Yeah, I wonder if Scout is forced to base here. It really does force Jiejie's hand to be around mid lane and to let him push. And the way he's doing it, he's actually just trying to track Xiaopeng, which is smart.
Yeah.
The other way he could have done it was just literally the brute force, go mad and help him push out by queuing his entire wave, which is also viable. But he's making use of the lead that he has by just walking back up to Xiaopeng.
Still super scary because Jiejie is always close by. Just walked on in, stole a Raptor while you were talking there, Raz, and continued to walk on through, get the shove out, and guess what? Another Scuttlecrab for him to take away. Jiejie is so close to level 6. And it looks like he'll get it pretty soon with another couple of clears.
You can stay in the lane after picking up those. That's a new reality Twila's have to figure out, and he's just going to... I think Twila would stop his base off that. Oh, he's not going to.
Good time, though, still for Jiejie. This is just continuing to grow out of hand. There's a Caulfield's Warhammer in the inventory of the Olaf. And it begins again. While Jinoo gets the shove in the top lane, he has a CS advantage. Mid is behind, but it doesn't matter for Scout because he's got the tier. He's starting to stack up with more comfortability. And iBoy, once again in a good position, building towards that Manamune again in game 2.
Ooh, you got to watch out, Changhong.
Will he get dove here is a real question. That's a Slicing Maelstrom, so remember the armor and magic resist comes through, but now disrupted. Jinoo walks away.
They can now allow Jinoo to shove this one in. And you're right about the armor and magic resist now being gone. Look for a dive topside. He's been stripped of that. So I want to see what they end up doing here. Jiejie has been on point in terms of just having direction so far in the series.
Yeah.
Going in.
Has full control. Perfect execution has been launched on down. Changhong gets dove now, but Jinoo takes 2 turret shots, walks away. He's very low. No commitment here from Changhong just yet. Jiejie is lurking by.
That would have been a great ultimate. You don't even need to be at a higher HP level if Olaf was in position. So if he was in the tri-bush or near the tri-bush, just run on in and be able to find that kill on the Kennen.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he realized he was like, all right, I'm in the wrong spot here because he just moved away from the position. Didn't know where Rek'Sai was, would have assumed that he'd be topside, answering the calls and cries of Changhong. So at the end, it just turns into a base there for Jinoo. I wanted to see a little bit more, but it's still fun to see both Jinoo and Jiejie being as active as ever.
It is a better news story, though, for Changhong because he was able to reset the wave, now pushing it out. Has the teleport available, and that's the advantage right now for DMO, that Jinoo, without that summoner, I say combat summoner because really in the first game it was. And Xiaopeng has moved down to the bottom side, still level 5 here on the Rek'Sai, but can they find Scout, who still has both summoners and the Petrifying Gaze? At this point, it just gets harder and harder, doesn't it? There's no move because Twila's got the wave in, and Xiaopeng is looking to continue part of that vertical jungling or go back to the top side, where Jinoo doesn't have the ult.
Yeah, Changhong does, though, so it is a good look for it. Okay, I guess we ain't going to see it.
We're going to look at bottom side because Meiko's just hooking away.
They didn't end up going for the dive anyways, so looks like Rek'Sai ended up calling it off. Good trade here.
Oh, can they find Scout? The flash is away. The end of it gives Twila something to look forward to, but that'll at least push out Scout a lane while we look back at the top side, and Slossing Maelstrom is back up and available. Look at the bottom side. If someone wants to fight, they fight all over. That's a great flash from Meiko, actually. He pops down with a depth charge and iBoy into the killer instinct while GALA and Muck just run for their lives. Can they get the turnaround while Xiaopeng across Summoner's Rift? Never mind. Let's just look at this fight first. Mark, under turret, needs one more shot. Thank you, iBoy. Flashes on in. Jiejie comes on in. This is 3 versus 1. Good GALA, say goodnight. Another one for EDG. The trade is a 2-for-1.
This is the type of game that your junglers just hate their lives. Every lane is fighting immediately. Now, it looked great for Dominus just through mid lane and top side of the map. So overall, if I'm just talking about trades, I'm happy for Dominus because not only did you get both summoners there from the Cassiopeia, but you made the dive happen top side.
Got something, yeah.
But what we all saw was, of course, the dive through the bottom side of the map, being able to get the 2 kills. So we're going to be able to see what we ended up missing at the top side. It was essentially Jinoo going all in on this one. And here's the weakness that I expected to see out of Jinoo, is being able to pick up these fights when you know your jungler is looking for a bottom side play.
Great reaction from Xiaopeng as well. Quick on the trigger finger on that flash, and him getting a kill upsets the balance of this jungle lead for Jiejie. He's 30 CS ahead in the jungle with 3 kills, but now the Rek'Sai getting at least 1. Has set themselves up for Rift Arrow while Jinoo just walks on in, but it is secured once again by DMO while Jinoo is in the middle of the Shroud. Meiko's walked up as well. The dredge line does not connect, keeping Changhong alive. Rift Herald secured for the blue side.
Just trying to poke them out, see if they can get anything off of it. Only issue there was that Jiejie was at base, and then you have your AD carry at the bottom side of the map, so you don't have any real damage unless if you're looking towards your Akali in that situation. So
yeah.
But back to my point, that's an issue that I think Hart's going to just look back in the video sessions and really talk to Jinoo about, because these are issues that we saw in week 1, week 2 from Spring Split when Ray was in the team, was that every lane is confidence in themselves. They look to pick up the fight regardless of where your jungler is.
Yep.
And it's tough for Jiejie, who's in the bottom side of the map, who can help both mid lane and bottom side of the map. But he can't help Jinoo, and Jinoo's the one willing to take a 1v1 knowing that it will turn into a 1v2 very quickly. So it's tough, turned into a dive, and it gives now Dominus a way to play through to the top side.
Yeah, that's right. A way that wasn't played through in game number 1 because Changhong was on the Scion. Now with the carry potential of the Kennen and the kill going over to the Rek'Sai, things look a little bit more stable. But EDG still about a 2k gold lead, still leads in that bottom lane and getting worse and worse. This is going to be a big trade.
Dominus needs this. If being able to pick up that first turret, we'll have to see if it's going to be I mean, it's not even going to be a race at all. I actually just hit it. Easy.
Good.
Now, I'm worried for the bottom side of the map, but I guess I should be more worried for Twila.
Can he get the tectonic displacement? Well, not if you're in Ragnarok. Just launch on down to the Vel'Koz. Oh, man. I wasn't there for the Vikings, but I'm sure it was something like that.
Goodbye, Captain Twila.
Oh, man. That was
fun.
That was rough. That was quick, but that's showing you the strength of the 4-0 Olaf.
So I was just, once again, looking at the textbook and saying that EDG will try and play through bottom side of the map, try and match the Rift Trail placement of the top side by not only chipping down the turret playing bottom lane, but also just completely forcing GALA and Mark off the tower.
Yeah.
Look at the CS margins. 24 CS lead there for iBoy. That's going to be somewhat evened out to maybe 19 CS once the full bot lane wave is taken out. But instead of looking for the bot lane tower immediately, they just go all in towards the gank in mid lane. So it's fun to be able to see this from Jiejie that you would not see this from Clearlove ordinarily.
Such a variation to think that an LDL jungler would come up and perform well in a third-party tournament, but also look at a game like this and just be so confident is great to see. So big prospects for the jungler of EDG just alone from the first 2 games. He's looking towards that Black Cleaver, and he's very close once again this early on, but his turret plating is soon to fall down. Let's see what these next 15 seconds hold, because there's an evade again. There's EDG walking back towards bottom.
You're going to see how EDG is utilizing the long lane. Their long lane, they're still going to be throwing Akali up there. Going to be slow pushing that one, maybe getting 2 waves stacked up and towards the top side tower. Not going to be taking the tower, but it's going to be pulling the attention of Changhong at some point. So that's something to watch out for. In the meantime, you can already see EDG trying to like make some paving a way through bot side with vision.
Jinoo's just going to ignore this completely. Teleport available for the Akali. Changhong walked down because it wasn't quite up and available, but that is not the case anymore. Scout gets a blue buff too. So now we've got even lanes in the mid lane, but everyone grouping around. Something's going to happen, and DMO want to force the issue.
I think DMO shouldn't, though. Remember the point that I just made, that once the 2 waves start crashing in the top lane tower, Changhong will be responding to that. So he finally is up there, willing to respond. It's now going to be ownership on Jinoo to move with Jiejie towards the bottom side of the map. It's on EDG now to look for a play. And to your point, I think Changhong has been trigger happy for a while. He's been wanting to look for a fight. And he calls for it and he cries. He'll mistakenly be like, oh, you're crying for a fight? I'm coming. All the way from the top lane. No, that's what I'm expecting.
Yep.
But it should be EDG looking for the first blow. I think the bottom tower, Dominus is not willing to fight over. That one at that point is just being milked out. So GALA and Mark lose as much experience as possible.
Maybe they didn't see this transition coming. Changhong might be called out. The undertow is flashed away from. Shuriken flip does land, but you're not going to take that one. So Changhong has to burn a summoner in the process, but now they know where the jungler is. They respond by putting Xiaopeng in the top lane as well. But still, EDG with priority over bot. Looks like the push will finally come through.
And rapid pings on the Scuttle Crab on the top side of the map. Xiaopeng looking to pick that one up is usually risky, seeing that Changhong literally had to flash at that situation. But you already see the push in the mid lane. Twila having a good advantage over Scout means that they should feel confident through mid. And while I made a mention of the jungle matchup being so poor, and the 4 kills for Olaf is just that significant, Scout's been the one suffering on the side of EDG, so they're trying to take advantage of that.
I mean, he's just left in the mid lane to respond. DMO moving across. This is very proactive, and there's no turret there for Jinoo. Let's just go for it, because does he know they're there? Well, he might have seen the Vel'Koz. He's trying to back on the spot. They pick that up. He doesn't even land on the ground. Jinoo needs to die here, but is he out? Perfect execution. Void Rush, he can't avoid it anymore. And Xiaopeng follows him all the way home.
Great response. And if you're EDG, you can't even respond with anything on the bottom side of the map. It was literally, I think Cassiopeia was not only leaning top side, but Meiko was already there. So kind of tough for EDG that had so much pressure towards the dragon that now they're kind of just a man down. Dominus should be the one trying to fight for it now.
Does look like they're letting up though, Rat. Still in the bottom lane with the lead from Jiejie. They're just going to take it. iBoy has that same lead as well, looking for the Blade Caller, but underneath turret, Jiejie flashes over the wall. Over-ambitious play maybe, but let's just continue it up as Changhong gets the stun onto iBoy. He's dead. Slicing Maelstrom's there. No flash from the Kennen. iBoy is out against all odds.
All right, but at least Dominus still have some teeth in them. They got some heart. Fighting back on that one, because that's just the worst situation. GALA being put underneath the tower now, still had the summoners available, but was able to fight back, get the flash off of Olaf. And if there was a fight position around the dragon, then you could look towards Jiejie and try and single him out. So no flash on jungle is going to be significant.
That's right, ult burn there as well for what it's worth for the next 20 or so seconds. Still some teeth in him, you said, for Changhong. Well, he showed his fangs there for a quick moment, level 11. On the Kennen. And 2 items now picked up with the Morellonomicon, so Changhong's ready to go again, but that flash is not going to be up for a while. Slicing Maelstrom has some time as well.
Klepto's been doing Changhong wonders. Already has 2 items up and available.
Yeah.
Morellonomicon, Proto Belt, just wanting to be in team fights. The only problem is oh, okay, there we go.
Hello. Goodbye. That's the 3rd dragon, just been silently taking away. Already picked up the double mountain before, but now you got an Ocean on a team that's doing this well in the early game.
That's the sad part about the entire thing if you're Dominus, is that you are ready to fight around your top laner.
Yeah.
Only issue is you just haven't put in the work for the first, like, I'd say the last 10 minutes to have the vision over the dragon. EDG's been there consistently, pushing you past that post. So you have no idea. So now another dragon going over to EDG.
At least for Changhong, he's still being aggressive here onto Jinoo, who has to use the ultimate again. Has not been used aggressively since that first level 6 mark.
But Jinoo's been doing fantastically on weak side.
True.
Ordinarily, you look to weak side tops and be like, all right, how much can you do with, let's say, a carry top laner when you're on the back foot? He's been evading a lot of these ganks, and he still has been matching up pretty well in terms of CS. So already has his Gunblade. He's going to be of use in these team fights. Akali doesn't need much to be able to one-shot an AD carry. This is literally it. He's ready.
I remember GALA fell behind in this lane as well. So although the AD carry will have someone like Mark by his side, we'll look away for a second because Meiko is just getting poked out by Twila. You can see the Vel'Koz has gone for the hose despite no glacial augment. Still going to get the slow. Still the standard first item for the Tentacle Man in the mid lane. Tentacle thing.
Tentacle thing works.
Yep.
I mean, it's a little bit redundant if you're just trying to set up for your knockup. You don't need both the glacial augment and the GLP.
That's true.
So at this point, I mean, he's fine in being able to set up his own abilities. That's fine. That's great. I don't think Dominus, with this composition, can fly, though. Yep. Remember the stipulation that I put with their composition is that they need to be, able to abuse the mid lane matchup, able to shove out mid and top this the adjacent lane for the major objectives, so you're not outside fighting in. You don't want to be the team trying to punch through a lot of the vision that the enemy team has, because Vel'Koz doesn't give you too much on that one. He actually puts him in a much more vulnerable position. So it's tough. They're in that spot. Technically, they've been playing through topside, but if you're EDG, all you need to do is have Jinoo on the bottom side of the map, and they've already done just that. So EDG getting the vision control. Okay!
A great time to force as well. Twila, we're just talking about you and picking up his first kill of the game. Great pick off onto Meiko now, looking for more in Scout, but for DMO, what do they do with this pick? Because Baron has just spawned, and they've got vision topside.
Well, damn. No, that's all it. That's all you need to do.
That's it? Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
I was actually pretty shocked on that one. I didn't think they'd be able to get a free pick like that, because the entire point was being able to combat for the vision control. They're starting this one off pretty early, though.
They're really doing it. 20 minutes in, EDG do spot it out. Jiejie is going to need a miracle here to go over the wall, but miracle even more for DMO to continue and get this Baron.
Teleport's there and available for Jinoo. It's going to be on him and whether he wants to commit to this. He's out of he's in fog of war right now,
okay,
so he's ready to teleport.
I mean, can they pull him off? Look how low Xiaopeng is. Even a heal's used. Mark goes into the quickness. Changhong comes in, slicing Maelstrom. Petrifying Gaze onto the support. That's enough because Scout's already picked up the kill. They walk on in. The Baron is stolen. And that's not what you want from Dominus. They walk to their death, it looks like, as Jinoo has found the jungler. Easy execution, more like it. And a Scout underneath the turret.
Round him up.
He's going to look for GALA, who's already so low. Zoned on out. The ultimate from the Vel'Koz, but Twila's in the exact same position. They walk forward. They take out the last remnant in GALA. And it was all too easy for EDG.
They just smacked them. Off of what was a great play from Dominus, getting the kill on towards Nautilus. Oh, that's fun. I like that. Might want to put that in a notebook somewhere. All they needed to do was clear out vision. EDG had heavy control around Baron side, around their own red side jungle. All they need to do is push mid, top lane, reclaim control, and then at some point be able to pick up the Baron. They don't have the ability to rush it off just right from the beginning. And they tried to do it anyways, knowing that EDG saw them. They do not need the Nautilus to fight. So I'm a bit pissed off on that one.
Big difference. I'm seeing a huge difference between DMO at the end of spring and now at the start of summer, because this fight was not iconic of their play.
Salt in the wounds is them flashing into the pit and being able to still steal the Baron. So Jiejie on this one, oh, he didn't even flash.
He just walked up.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
How sad.
Thank you.
So he just walks up, smites it, picks it up for himself. I didn't expect that. What I would have expected, you know, is them still being able to pick up Baron, but then just being wrapped around and then slaughtered. But
oh no.
Here we go.
Speaking of which, there's the depth charge. Twila's not getting out. He gets sent into the air. Undertow comes through. They know it's enough as Meiko picks up the tentacle monster, and Twila, his third death of the game. It continues to roll on as EDG now in a big gold advantage. Continue to push up.
Yeah, and if you have an Olaf and a Nautilus and you're snowballing, it's incredibly easy to dive.
Thank you, Colonel. That's quite obvious
at least he didn't have to flip-flop this game.
Yeah.
He had it right from minute 1.
I mean, EDG have been in control, and they're just doing it again. And that's the petrifying gaze. Void Rush coming out. Might be an opportunity for Dominus to scout. Already takes down the jungler. Now Mark has to disappear from the fight. GALA doesn't even ult the right way. They're in disarray here, Dominus, as EDG tear them a new one.
This has been a rough one for Dominus, but EDG, from what was a rough and tumble game, but really a spotlight on some individual talent like Jinoo, Scout, Meiko, come in even stronger in game 2. I want to see what they can do to finish this one off. I think the death timers are not long enough. Dominus still has one shot to be able to come right back.
But EDG are going to take the maximum. That's a double inhibitor before 25 minutes in the game. And this is a good side for EDG. This is a great way to start the summer split. If they can take down Dominus in 2-0 fashion, they have a 10k gold lead. They've got another Infernal to look to seal the deal.
And remember, last split, Dominus started strong.
Yeah.
They did pretty dang well in the regular season, picking up wins against team in the top 5, right? They were able to punch above their weight is the major thing with Dominus. But if they're playing, if they continue to play the way they played this set out, they're going to have a real rough time. So take a look at this. I mean, this composition is really easy to run if you're diving. The only concern was the initial damage they had down on Scout. But take a look at Jinoo's positioning. Take a look at, of course, the Xayah being able to reposition on this one. So they just played it back when Kennen ultimate came through and then just struck where it hurt.
Jinoo, just this silent achiever after the top lane went the way it did. 2 games in a row where Jinoo has had a back and forth laning phase because he's been focused or because there's been a lot going on up there. And you come into this mid game where now Jinoo is just as relevant as he was in game 1.
Yeah, I think he only made one mistake this game. We're just, like, outside of nitpicking, the only one was legitimately picking a fight in a 1v1 when your jungler's down bot side looking to trade. Yeah, that's right. Literally it. The entire series he's been performing well, so this is just a really great start for what is for EDG fans. They're coming into this one concerned, right? They didn't start out with Olaf, who performed strong last split. They didn't start with Ray, who was the all LPL top laner, 3rd team. So they came out with 2 unknowns, and they came in and just punched them out.
Some people might be like, who's Jiejie? And you go, oh, here he is. 5-0 Olaf, who 2 games in a row has looked stellar. Absolutely stellar, and I'm excited for his prospects in the summer.
Now, I'm still going to open up a small that window slightly.
Yeah, open the window.
That maybe DMO can do something to come back into this one.
I'm an optimist, Raz. I think someone like Twila, if he can get that tectonic displacement, if GALA and Mark can get amidst the team fight.
As long as they're not looking at this graphic that's saying that 7k gold is moved towards EDG, as long as they're not doing that, I think they've got some hope left in them. For me, it's going to be on...
Okay. If it's
right,
going to happen
Changhong.
now, it happens with a Kennen.
Yeah.
Slicing Maelstrom onto 2. iBoy does eventually get locked on down, but they can't take him down. The Void Rush into the backline, but iBoy, Killer Instinct, he's still alive. Mark's there as well. He's dead too. It doesn't matter what happens because now Jinoo is in the thick of 3. The Blade Caller locks on down, but GALA just doesn't have enough damage. They get deleted. Jiejie flashes over. Scout's there, and so is Jinoo. Changhong dies at the end, and that is just stellar from EDG.
I was a big fan of them trying to get the kill on Meiko. Easy pickings. But when they tried to dive straight towards iBoy, not happening. And that's going to be the victory there for EDG.
Not today. EDG and DMO. 3 games. No, not this time. It's only the 2, and it's only EDG stamping their foot of authority in the first series of the summer split.
It's a great response. Remember, the term upset legitimately had to be proven today that it was EDG that was stronger than back then Sino Dragons, now known as Dominus.
Yeah.
They were able to make that proof now. Of course, 2 new members that we thought made them weaker, even if just a little bit slightly in terms of synergy. They looked on the same page. Jiejie certainly knew what the game plan was for his team, and Jinoo understood his role.
I just love that flash over the red wall, like, so
That's some
aggressive.
good stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's when you just slap that, put it on Reddit, question mark. That's all you need as a title.
And then it works out.
Hell yeah. Put that on Twitter. Your friends are like, what is this?
And then Meiko walks up, and Meiko as well had a great series as well.
All you got to do is blur the names, right?
Yeah.
Try and make that act as if I was doing that right there. If I'm, like after today, blur the names, edit it, perfect. Throw it on Reddit. Look what I did today. That's how you get your retweets.
It definitely is. Someone like Jinoo, you just saw on your screen, in a very good mood after what was a dominant 2 game. And as EDG take their bow, I think it was a great way to start the summer split, Raz, and because it was a little bit messy on the side, but ultimately, I think we saw the better part of EDG, and fans, as you said, can get excited about this new roster.
And you needed to see some mistakes, right? You don't want to see them just completely dominate from minute 1 to minute like 25, I suppose, depending on how long that would go. Because you want to see and learn something if you're EDG coming into the split. You want to feel as though, like, sure, we failed at playoffs time. If we're going through a regular season and then don't know the definition of losing, that sucks. You want to be prepared for the playoffs. And right here, EDG, they're going to have a lot to look over. When they had leads, Baron buff, and all that, to play it slowly, or the EDG way.
Very cute from Hart, little cheek move, like you would do with your son or your daughter. But really, it was a growing moment when you bring up someone from an LDL team, when you bring someone who you're not sure how they're going to perform in this environment. Well, a confident performance like that, once again, gets me excited. I do want to delve a little bit into DMO before we return back to EDG. Because for me, Dominus, that wasn't indicative of how I saw them in spring, and it didn't feel like it was the team that really put EDG up against the wall in playoffs.
I think when they came into this game, I saw a little bit of what troubled them when they went up against TOP in the quarterfinals. Okay. Which is more so the ability to adapt when the initial game plan doesn't work out. And also the steps being placed that are necessary to force a team into a fight. In game 1, they were forcing them, and I think that was great, but they were over-greeting, Changhong flashing over wall, unfortunate, like a lot of these plays that initially looked okay, but then they just continued to run forward. And in this composition, which is actually really difficult to work out, it involves a lot of baiting forward, not only utilizing Vel'Koz, coming forward to him so you can use his ult full damage, Kennen coming into the flank, a lot of these situations where DMO, that's not their MO last split. Yeah. They're a very much headstrong, face forward, look for a team fight and out-execute at times. We didn't see that in the comps here, and we certainly didn't see it in play. They have the most room to grow here.
I do like DMO changing and maybe trying new things, like a father with a son, trying new food. That's fantastic. But this for DMO was a good taste test to maybe the rest of the split, and what could be potential for fans of theirs to see coming up.
You know who the next team they face?
Tell me, Raz.
Invictus Gaming.
Well,
so there's going to be a lot of taste testing here. They're not going to have the whole meal. They're going to be rejected from that. Yeah. But for Dominus, they still do need to iron out a lot of the problems that they had coming into the spring split. Now, remember, a lot of the strengths they had there, I made a mention of that. Their strength coming into the spring split was the initial synergy that they had. Every other team ended up changing here and there. They were the ones that remained firm. And their identity was very simple. Same compositions running through.
I think it was the most simple identity in the LPL.
Exactly. Now, coming into this split, the predictions that I made in rankings for teams, I actually didn't have Dominus making playoffs. So for how much success that this team was able to accrue during the spring split and the NESD tournament, they certainly need to prove to me that their solo laners can actually match up with the best of them. That in terms of mechanics, that we look to their solo laners, both Changhong and Twila, being major strengths for their team, especially with this current meta. And then past that point, obviously, a lot of the problems in terms of team fighting, I think, are going to be issues against teams that have actually been empowered. Yep. I think RNG is for certain. A lot of these teams that are known for team fighting squads have the necessary steps there to combat the major star of Xiaopeng. So I think we'll have to see a lot of room for Dominus to push forward.
And when you see new teams like BLG coming up, new teams that have come into the LPL, where they have a similar identity, it becomes even harder and harder for, as you said, they might not make playoffs.
And those teams were late bloomers. BLG as a team, while their strength of schedule was very easy for the first 4 weeks, they as a team got better at the last 4. When they went up against Invictus Gaming and lost, they lost off of literally an auto attack on a Nexus. Sure. There are a lot of moments with that where you're like, wow, BLG could have made it into the playoffs if they had the same level of play they had at the end of the split, at the beginning of the split. Yep. It's only 1 month off. You're doing that. I think BLG comes in strong. And the same goes for a lot of these teams. So, I mean, if you go to name all these teams, I think for Dominus, it's a good challenge, and I like that. For EDG, their next team, fun. Boom, JDG. So I think it's a great road for EDG moving forward because that matchup, remember, if we're talking about upsets that happen in playoffs, we'll see JDG later today going up against FPX. And JDG during the playoff run had that huge run, knocking teams down. Yep. And a lot of that was exactly how Dominus played, through just rough and tumble team fighting. So I'm excited to see what the next series has to offer.
So what excites you, just while we're still on the topic of EDG, what excites you most about this team after we've gotten a variety of tastes of the new jungler, the top laner, iBoy and Meiko looks great. Scout kind of getting there.
I know people are going to be split on this. If you just put a poll, it's going to be 50-50 between Jiejie and Jinoo. I'll say Jinoo.
Yeah?
Because I was always concerned about teams from smaller markets or unsuccessful teams. He has never been. Jinoo's always been coming onto a team that was expected to be the bottom 5, bottom 8. And so you're like, okay, if you come onto a team, an organization that's far more structured, a team that really has an expectation of success, how will you fare? He fared extraordinarily well in this game. Yeah. And the only issues that I had are issues that I expect to be resolved going forward. So my excitement is is he going to be consistent going forward? I'm confident.
On that, I was really excited that we got to see Jinoo's style, not a style that maybe revolved around EDG.
Yeah.
I was half expecting, you know, if we've got a new jungler, is there more stability as in a tank top lane or something that isn't Jinoo's style?
Yeah, and we'll see. I think a lot of that still, I don't even know if Heart has an answer to that one just yet. Because the meta is still open for a lot of changes. A lot of the times you see drastic patch changes like after Rift Rivals or something where teams have to completely organize what their thoughts are. Maybe turret plates don't exist tomorrow. I don't want to frighten anybody. But like anything can happen that drastically changes the type of meta that you're playing under, and Jinoo can have to be, well, maybe forced to play tanks. And can he play that kind of style? He hasn't had to do in the past. In fact, the teams like LGD and V5 are like, what is our strategy? Get Jinoo any champion he wants and play towards him.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the style of EDG. You even saw in this game where the strategy was ultimately to play through mid and bottom lane. And Jinoo actually just did very well when he was on weak side. So that's new information for me, and I have a lot of faith for him.
Because we've seen a lot of the top laners that have come into fruition in the LPL that now we consider, wow, you know, some of the best in the world. Now, hear me out. Because, of course, we've got a lot of good top laners in the LPL. Some who haven't proven themselves on the international stage.
Who are you saying is best in the world?
As top lane? Is the Xayah still the best top laner in the world?
Well,
that's another can of worms.
You're going into dangerous territories.
Or is it Impact now?
The European audience is awake at this moment in time. And if you decide to take that trophy away from Wonder,
sorry,
airplane tickets will be purchased alongside baseball bats.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But for me, I would still say the Xayah and then Wonder. I still think that's like actually very contentious, mostly because what we're seeing out of Wonder is an exceptional amount of consistency and high level of play. But the Xayah, consistency right out the window.
I'll bring it back just in
Literally,
case. all right,
right out the window.
All right, I'll bring it back just in case I anger any EU fans. I was going to say, you know, where in the LPL specifically do you look at someone like Jinoo and say he could kind of slot in? Even though it's early, we know so much about this player.
We already had him as a top 5 top laner. Did we? Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you. I can't speak for you. I ain't a lawyer. But I mean, my top 3 is exactly what the all LPL top 3s were.
Yep.
So I certainly had 369, the Xayah, and
Xiao in there, was
Ray there. Not Xiao, not Long X. I'm gonna give him
Long X. Sorry.
I'm gonna give him that respect to give him his name. Yep. His new one. But Jinoo was definitely for me, 4th or 5th place, 100%.
Okay.
And so if the question is like, is he able to enter that top 3 list? Certainly, 100%.
Okay.
Like 369, we already saw his playoff time wasn't for me satisfactory. So I definitely think there can be a change in that one, which makes it very awkward, by the way. Because if Ray comes back and you have 2 exceptional top laners in your ranks, we already saw what happened with that exact same experiment.
You talking about IG?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, Duke, I'm sorry, man.
I thought you talked about RNG. I was like, well, look, there's not really the same.
Yeah, that's not the But yeah, for Invictus game, you got to see it, and it's a sad day for 2 top laners fighting for the exact same position when they're both fantastic, can be slotted into top teams in the league. You saw the resolution of that on Fnatic with Soaz leaving in that one. You saw the lack of resolution of that one in Invictus Gaming. Duke still wanting to find some time in life.
Maybe after MSI he might. Yeah. We were waiting for an MVP, and we do have it now. I thought it would be Jiejie. I thought he deserved it, but it is actually iBoy after a very convincing performance. And he has new player photos. Does that not suit him?
That does.
That's great.
I think his team fighting was exceptional. I'm not going to disagree with it like I did in Game 1. iBoy was fantastic in team fights. His positioning was exceptional around what was an ambitious Kennen.
Yeah.
He was wonderful. So congratulations on the MVP.
Well, iBoy 30% damage. Look, it's impressive, but of course, looking at that new Kai'Sa in 9.10, I say new because we see the Manamune picked up each and every game so far. So good to see that adaptation coming through from iBoy.
I will say, though, if Jiejie had some name power, if
that
that man was named LeBron James, he's getting MVP.
Yeah, that's very fair. He had a very good game 1, very good game 2. Good to
If
see
that was
EDG.
Karsa's name on that
He'd get it.
champion, he's getting it.
I mean, that's a 2-0 from EDG. He takes that away bare minimum. Good to come up from the LDL. Powerful performance. EDG 2-0, and coming up next, JDG FBX. I know what I'm saying. It's all right, Raz. We're going to have a short break when we return. Our next series coming up in Beijing.